And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm National Weather Service Meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you on this Saturday, March 2nd, 2024. And if you'd like additional weather information on top of what you get here in this YouTube video, you can go to weather.gov. That is the National Weather Service's online presence. And I'd like to show you quickly what's going on in the lower 48. A lot of people have family and friends down this way, or you may be traveling soon there. Very active pattern western U.S. out into the high plains. We have, well, to start out here, the Gulf Coast, dense fog advisories all along the northern Gulf Coast, but these areas in magenta, Iowa, northwest Missouri, but especially the high plains from South Dakota into the Texas-Oklahoma panhandle, critical fire weather conditions, red flag warnings. We have a very dire situation in the Texas Panhandle. Smokehouse fire has now consumed over 1 million acres. It is the largest wildfire in Texas history, and it continues to rage. And we're going to have not just today, but tomorrow, 2 days in a row of critical fire weather conditions. Southwest winds gusting 30, 40 miles an hour with relative humidities down around 5 to 15%, and temperatures in the 70s, so very bad conditions there for the further spreading of wildfires. And in the areas of the Rockies, numerous winter storm warnings, high winds, winter weather advisories. We also have winter storm warnings, advisories in the western areas, including blizzard warnings for the Sierra Nevada. I spoke with my brother who lives in that area, and he's had over 3 feet of snow just last night with winds gusting along the ridge lines there 100 miles an hour. So really rough time there with those storms crossing there through the western and interior west of the continental U.S. Here in Alaska, as I've been talking about, pattern shift is underway from what it had been. We're starting to see a return now of some snow and blowing snow along the west coast, southwest coast. It'll spread inland as we go into the late weekend, early this week. There's a blizzard warning in effect for St. Lawrence Island for increasing snow and winds coming up there for tonight and Sunday. We still have wind chill advisories for Thompson and White Passes there, but some really strong gap winds through these areas. In fact, Thompson Pass gusted to 83 miles an hour earlier this Saturday morning. And this active weather pattern is going to spread eastward early and middle part of next week up into the Gulf Coast. So that means more active weather returning along the Gulf and into the Panhandle, especially by midweek. Looking at some of the FAA webcams around the state. Fort Yukon, clear and cold, bright sunny afternoon, early afternoon temp 4 below. Well, Fort Yukon was down to 44 below zero this morning for the state's coldest temperature. And a number of spots up around there, it's 42 below at Bettles, have experienced mornings with lows in the 40s below here the past 2-3 mornings. Conditions are going to moderate there a bit. Southwest coast, lower Yukon Delta, Chafornak, lowering clouds, ceilings coming down. Snow's going to move in along with some blowing. 7 above, temperature there early this afternoon. Thompson Pass, as I mentioned, had a peak wind gust, at least what I saw earlier this morning, 83 miles an hour, very windy. Wind chill advisory remains there with a temperature in the early afternoon at 3 below. And even in the northern panhandle, we still have some of those strong outflow or gap winds. Haines, windy, some blowing dust there showing up in the imagery there along the roadway. Temperature at 19 degrees early this afternoon. But winds should eventually begin to come down over south central and northern panhandle areas. Now, what to look for in the sky? We are going to have some clear conditions tonight across much of the mainland, and with the exception of the west coast. And around the equinoxes is when we have typically the highest aurora activity. And March is next to like September, October is the most active month for aurora activity. Right now, the sun has not dealt us anything too impressive that would energize and get the aurora going, but we might just get a glancing blow from a weak coronal mass ejection at some point tonight or early Sunday. Not a definite, but could enhance what we consider like the quiet form aurora. And just kind of give you an idea of the moon phase, we are coming off of full moon about a week ago. So last quarter moon occurs tomorrow. A week from tomorrow, next Sunday, March 10th, new moon. So we are favoring toward darker skies as long as they are clear. And I think in time we're going to see areas of the interior cloud up in the week ahead as we start to get more moisture coming in from the west and the south. But right now, the advisories that we have in effect, first let's start with the two wind chill advisories here, White Pass, Thompson Pass. That'll be allowed to continue into tonight. Then to the west, we have wind chill advisories here around Kotzebue Sound, west side of the Seward Peninsula due to strong winds causing low wind chills. And then blizzard warning for St. Lawrence Island through at least noon Sunday. In this area here along the southwest coast, indicating that we're going to see some snow and blowing snow, lower Yukon, Kuskokwim Deltas, Bristol Bay, and into the northern part of the Alaska Peninsula, because there is a lead front that's weakening, but it's bringing in some snow, and that's the reason these advisories have been posted. There's a second front out here that's going to be coming inland with another round of snow Sunday night into Monday morning. So these advisories could be extended, or there could be some additional advisories or warnings as a result of that next push of moisture. And looking on the satellite imagery, you can see kind of the curl in the clouds. There's one area of low pressure in this lead front pushing that moisture in along the southwest coast for tonight and Sunday morning. We still have a little weak lingering area of low pressure here over the Gulf. It's not as potent as it once was. And then we have high pressure sitting here over northwest Canada. And it's the difference between these pressure systems here and here that's driving some of the wind there, outflow winds there in the northern panhandle, as well as here in south central. But then we also have other low pressures back here into the western Aleutians, lower Bering, all coming together, and this pattern is shifting out, and that we're going to start to see the low pressure systems now return, moving west from the west southwest back toward the east northeast. So that's going to bring more things along the west coast, and then eventually secondary development as we get lows come up out of the North Pacific. The Gulf is going to get active again early and middle part of next week. So here we have weak lows still sitting out here in the central Gulf. We have the high pressure extending across the mainland eastern interior back here into northwest Canada. Again, temperatures are going to be quite cold. A few spots could still be back down around 40 below tomorrow morning, like the Yukon Flats area. But here comes that frontal system, and by late tonight into early Sunday morning, kind of washes out to more of a trough, but that push of moisture will come on shore as snow, blowing, drifting snow here along the southwest coast. We have a second low back here to the west in the central Bering with another front. That's what's going to be coming in for Sunday night into Monday morning. So here by Sunday afternoon, still have relatively quiet conditions now along the Gulf Coast and through much of the eastern half, the mainland. The high pressure is still out there in the northwest and northern Canada, but here comes that next front. That's going to bring a renewed round of snow and blowing snow here into areas of the southwest, west central coast. And eventually, early in the week, this stuff's going to start to push further inland as it advances eastward. So by Monday afternoon, we find that front pushing inland across the southwest interior. That's going to spread some snow up the Yukon Valley, the upper Kuskokwim. Then we have secondary low development taking shape near and just east of Kodiak Island, so that'll get a little snow and precipitation going here, try to push up in the south central. And it's just showing up now, and tomorrow when you watch this low down here is going to be a more compact, healthy low that takes a track northeastward, and that's going to be coming up into the Gulf as we go into late Tuesday and Wednesday, and then that's going to bring the next best chance of some precipitation, moderate to heavier precipitation, northeastern Gulf into the panhandle here by the middle of the week. So stay tuned for that. And temperatures are going to be chilly, single digits there above zero across the northern panhandle, teens to a few spots near 20 in at least the outer southwest areas of the panhandle. 30 below easily there, Copper River Basin, some very cold air across the eastern portion of the mainland. And even sub-zero readings, again, where skies are clear and winds finally fall off. And temperatures for Sunday afternoon, staying below freezing in the panhandle, only in the teens to maybe near 20 in the north. Not getting above zero there at Gulkana or Glen Allen. Temperatures teens to struggling to hit 20, Anchorage Bowl at best. Monday morning, not quite as cold there in the Copper River Basin, but still below zero. Still readings in through the panhandle. Cold temperatures, single digits and teens. And then Monday, we start to see that milder air coming in off the Bering and out of the North Pacific. So temperatures bumping back up above freezing. Homer down through, say, King Salmon. Kodiak City, a high of 38. Now, Sunday morning low, easily back down around 40 below here, Fort Yukon. If you see a few more readings at that, 35-ish below or so there at Northway. Arctic coast below zero, near zero, a little above zero along Norton Sound. And then temperatures with the clear skies and sunshine still get back up to just under zero across many of the cold spots. We start to see that large diurnal temperature spread with the clear skies because we do have the increased insolation from the sun, the higher sun angle, the more energy coming in. So it does allow temperatures to warm during the day. We have 30-degree readings nudging up here onto the lower Yukon coast as that milder air comes in. Not as cold, still some sub-zero readings here along the eastern areas of the mainland and along the Arctic coast, but temperatures are actually going to be climbing Sunday night into Monday morning, and very likely we could have some temperatures by Monday afternoon south side of Norton Sound through the Yukon, lower Yukon Valley up around freezing. Back here, temperatures will continue to moderate. Coldest readings still below zero, areas of the North Slope. Utqiagvik on over third Kaktovik still have high temperatures only around 8 or 9 below zero. So Sunday morning, there is a little milder air out through the eastern Aleutians with that frontal system. That's working its way northeastward so that we see temperatures moderating along the southwest coast after that initial push of some snow in there. Temperatures could be up around or a bit above 40 lower Alaska Peninsula and certainly back out through the eastern central Aleutians. And for Monday morning, we're anticipating temperatures in the 20s, much milder than what they were last week. And then temperatures have recovered back up near freezing for lows in a number of spots, and then daytime highs Monday afternoon. We expect many areas to be above freezing in the 30s, even a few 40-degree readings here along the Alaska Peninsula as we go through Monday afternoon. Most notably, though, we're still not out of the woods for cold temperatures, or at least below normal temperatures from what they should be in March. There is the potential around March 8th through the 12th, centered on the 9th or 10th, there could be a lobe of Arctic air want to dive southwestward. It's going to come on down here along the northwest Arctic coast and then pull back toward the southwest mainland and off the coast here. If that happens, that's going to want to pull up storm systems and low pressure, may want to pull them back toward the northwestern Gulf. If that happens, that could bring some potentially heavier snowfall to south central areas, including Anchorage. And Anchorage is watching potentially for their all-time snowfall record for a winter, only 15.5 inches away from exceeding the 134.5 inch all-time total that happened in 2011, 2012. So that'll be worth kind of keeping an eye on. So coming up into mid-month, we expect that colder air over most of the state, most centered here in the north and west. Of course, with that colder air, drier air mass, winds tend to be north-northeast, offshore flow. So areas of the west, northwest drier, but we expect precipitation to average maybe a bit above normal throughout the panhandle into the southeast mainland. So we'll have to see what happens as far as what systems can develop here as we get toward mid-month, because a pattern like this could make for some rather unsettled weather here along the Gulf Coast into the southeast panhandle here as we head prior to St. Patrick's Day.